Hi, everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic summer so far. We're in Cave City, Kentucky, and we wanted something to eat, but just really didn't want to go too far. We had been driving for a while today, and we're staying at the Hampton Inn, and luckily enough, there is a restaurant right here beside us. It's Raina's Tavern and Grill. Let's check them out. Hello.
Hello. It's very loud in here.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's cool.
So before we actually eat, we hear some music going on outside. Let's see what that's about.
Just spread the message. God bless Texas.
So we decided to go with something that Raina's is well known for. They're great wings. We went with the buffalo wings, and of course you gotta have ranch sauce with that, right? And as we're getting ready to leave, the regulars are starting to come in. It's a great place. The staff was awesome. Highly recommend them if you're ever in Cave City.
Back at the hotel,
Yes.
but I still can hear the wine, the whatever it is, the whiskey.
Here's the whiskey.
What about the whiskey?
I think the beer was before the whiskey.
Oh, the beer. I kept saying the wine, the women, the whiskey.
That's not accurate.
After a brief stop in Cave City, we're on to our destination for our little weekend getaway, that of Hodgenville, Kentucky. And there was a very influential person born in Hodgenville, February the 12th of 1809. Abraham Lincoln was born here in the small town of Hodgenville. And this statue on the Hodgenville main square has been host to some pretty important visits. In fact, it's been host to 5 presidential visits, from Teddy Roosevelt, who laid the cornerstone of the monument to his birth, all the way to President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Most people, because of course associating President Lincoln with other states, don't actually realize that he lived in Kentucky from 1809 to 1816, when the family moved on to Indiana. And he spoke often of some of those indelible memories that were made right here. Seemingly everywhere you go here, you run into another building on the square that's on the National Register of Historic Places. There are many things named after Lincoln, as you might expect. There's a Lincoln Bank here. There's even an Abe radio. I think that's pretty cool. The first location we're going to go to today is going to be the Lincoln Museum that is right here on the square in Hodgenville. I don't know if it's the same in your neck of the woods, but a lot of cities have a mascot for the town. In our city, it's turkeys. We have fiberglass turkeys everywhere. For Hodgenville, it's the statue of Boy Lincoln. You see it everywhere. All right, let's get this party started. The downtown is all done up in presidential style, as you would expect, and this is in the display actually before we even get to the museum. There are some really cool Lincoln things here, including some dioramas, of course, another Boy Lincoln statue, and they have these miniatures. These are the log cabins at the birth site, at the boyhood home. I'll get into more about that later, but also a little miniature of the death procession when Lincoln, of course, was toured around the country by train, and then that final procession. Really cool miniatures and dioramas. The shooting at Ford's Theater, his life and times. The attention to detail is pretty amazing. And again, all this stuff that really showcases the Kentucky history of President Lincoln. All this stuff all before we even get into the museum. And now we'll head on into the museum itself. It is $5 a person, and it is 2 levels. You can walk up steps, and also if anybody has a hard time going up steps, they have an elevator as well. The thing that I really love about this Abraham Lincoln Museum in Hodgenville is it seems to be a true labor of the people. Virtually every piece you see was donated by somebody's, from somebody's personal collection. Every picture, every artifact, and it adds a certain authenticity about it because Abraham Lincoln was a much beloved president as being not only the things he accomplished, but as being a very common man, a guy like most people who came from nothing and who achieved the highest office in the land. Like the note on this piano, don't touch unless you can play, then feel free. The vast majority of the clothing that you'll see, although it may not be from the family itself, it is authentic to the time period and has been donated by a lot of families here in Kentucky. You see lots of musical instruments that are decorated in various forms of Lincoln Americana, really cool pieces. In this first room, you see a lot of Lincoln memorabilia, and some of which has been used in film, in TV, and even on the local circuit for reenactors. Now, I really like this first part of the room. One of my favorite things in this whole museum, a stone and a horseshoe from the original home. The horseshoe put in the construction of the home for good luck. And you see this oil painting right here. You see Thomas, Abraham Lincoln's father, Abraham Lincoln himself, and then to the left, his sister Sarah. They are there for the unfortunate, they're mourning the death of the third Lincoln child, Thomas, who died from an unknown illness. And at the very top of the painting, you see some feet up there. That is Mr. Arthur Golahar, Alston Golahar, I should say. And Alston was a childhood friend of Abraham Lincoln's. And this actually goes on to tell the whole story of it, so you'll be able to see it if you come here. But Abraham Lincoln was drowning, and his friend Alston held out a stick and was able to get him to safety. And the great-grandchildren of the Golahar family donated this 3-drawer chest. So pretty cool. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And if there's something I need to chime in about, I will do so. Thanks for watching. I think one of the cool things is a lot of the art that you see on display is from local artists. Really cool. Now, the next section is going to be wax figures that are going through the life of Lincoln. We see here the cabin years, a young Lincoln with his mother and father here. His mother would die very young in Abraham's life. She would die when he was 9 years old. The second diorama that we're going to see is him when he was working in a shop early in his life. The rail splitter Lincoln, as he always talked about this period of his life. He wanted to portray that ruggedness. And of course, here is Abraham Lincoln as a door-to-door, multi-level marketing salesman. No, this is him waiting outside Mary Todd Lincoln's house to whisk her away on a date. It took him some 3 years of courting to finally win over Miss Mary Todd. The next section here, of course, it's the Lincoln-Douglas debate. And across from that is President Lincoln getting ready to deliver his Gettysburg Address. Next up is President Lincoln being sworn in for his second term. And of course, that leads us not too much longer to that ill-fated night at Ford's Theater where Abraham Lincoln would be assassinated. And every time you just have to think, what if? How different would the trajectory of the country had been had he not been assassinated? An example of the acts that President Lincoln had during his early days. Of course, as a rail splitter, went on to be a lawyer. Guns from the time donated. And across from the displays, we see more memorabilia from some facsimile, some actually from the time. Newspapers of the day around the war years. We also see wax figures of Lincoln and Matthew Brady. Lincoln here portrayed as sitting down for an official portrait. Matthew Brady was a very prolific photographer, and the Civil War had been more photographed than any other war in history. Of course, photography still very much in its infancy, but we knew more about war from the Civil War than the populace ever had, truly seeing the horrors of battle, dead bodies, some for the first time seeing that war wasn't this fun thing, and it would be the most photographed, most documented war up until World War II. And now we'll go up to the second level, and the artwork that you'll be seeing up on this level, any artwork that you see, is from nearly 50 years of award winners from the local community, both children and adults, their interpretations of Lincoln, his legacy, his life, the life of those impacted by him. And next door you have a church, the Christian Church to be specific, and it's from 1877. And up next here is a life mask that was done of President Lincoln in 1860. This was one of the favorite things of mine to see. This is a pretty cool little Easter egg. You only see it from the top floor. It's on the top of one of the first floor displays. I really like this piece here. This was an actual hoe that was dug up from the farmland of Thomas Lincoln. Very cool. Tons of artwork, coinage, memorial tokens, so much from the life of Abraham Lincoln. We couldn't possibly show it all to you. And we want you to go, of course, and experience it for yourself. And when you get out of the museum, they have a wonderful gift shop, tons of things, not only just Lincoln, but covering the Civil War and his whole life. There's lots of information on the different Abraham Lincoln sites. There's at least 3 that are close to you from the museum here. So thanks for sticking with us. And in the next video that I'll get out in the next couple days, we will actually go to the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful night.